We're going to look at a quadratic equation today, and we're going to use the quadratic formula to solve it. And I already tell you ahead of time that it has two real solutions. In an upcoming lesson, we're going to look at a way to determine, before we ever start solving it, what kind of solution it has. There are three possibilities. It can have two real solutions. It can have one real solution that is duplicated, or it can also have what's called complex solutions. But today this one has two real solutions. So we're going to start out by remembering the standard form of a quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. Remember, a is our leading coefficient, b is our secondary coefficient, and c is our constant term. So the first step in solving this is we want to identify a, b, and c. In our particular example that we have here, a is going to be equal to 1, b is equal to 3, and c is equal to -7. It's very, very important that you pay attention to the signs, and if it's negative, you carry the sign with it. All right, our second step is going to be that we substitute in our values into our quadratic formula. So we're going to have x equals -b, which is 3, plus or minus. Remember, we have two solutions in this case, so it's got to be plus or minus, which is part of the quadratic formula. We have b squared, which is 3 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times, and when I have a negative, I put it in parentheses. I have a -7 for c, all divided by 2 times 1, which is a. All right? So that is our second step. Our third step is we want to simplify. So we have x equals a -3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared is 9. And notice the sign. I have a negative times a positive times a negative. So I have a negative times a negative, which gives me a positive. 4 times 1 times 7 is 28. All divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. All right, and then we continue the simplification process. So we have x equals -3 plus or minus, and we combine the items under the square root. So we have 9 plus 8, or 9 plus 28, which is 37, divided by 2. Now we want to look at focusing on our square root. We want to see if we can simplify that further. And if you look at the number 37, 37 is a prime number. So the only factors of 37 are 1 and itself. So we're going to have to leave the square root as it is, but we're going to separate it out into two solutions. So we have x equals -3 plus the square root of 37 divided by 2. And we have x equals -3 minus the square root of 37 divided by 2. Now, if we want to check our answer, we can actually graph this on a graphing calculator, which I have already done. So I've graphed this. And here's the graph, and what you're interested in are the values where it crosses the x-axis. Now, notice these are in decimal form, and my other answer, or my solution over here, was in radical form. So if I wanted to test and see if they were the same, all I need to do is substitute these numbers into the calculator, and you'll find that they are exactly the same. As you notice, we're interested in where it crosses the x-axis, and these are the values out beside. And notice those are in decimal values. If we substitute in what I got in radical form into the calculator, you'll see that I get the same decimals, 1.54 and then -4.54, which is what I had on the graph. So you can see that this is a way of checking it.